Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar on achieving your state missions with better data. My name is Vivian from the product marketing team here at SAFE.
My name is Chris, and I'm one of the Fme technology experts here at SAFE.
And I'm Stephanie. I run the webinar program here, and I'm going to be helping out behind the scenes. So we have a couple places where we're going to be a bit interactive with polls, so be ready to respond there. And I'm also going to be helping with Q&A behind the scenes. So we have Q&A throughout the whole webinar. So please chat in your questions in that little chat box, and we'll also do a live Q&A at the end. So I think with that, though, I'm going to say let's save some of the internet bandwidth and turn off our webcams here, and you guys can take it away.
All right, thanks, Steph. All right, so I think it's something we can all relate to, is that 2020 has been really a challenging year for all of us, and it's definitely a year full of challenges for governments. Citizens and businesses are looking to their government leaders to help them navigate and emerge stronger from the pandemic and related economic issues. Issues like climate change, natural disasters, geopolitical instability, and public safety have also become even more acute. The challenge is that most governments have been operating in traditional models where data silos exist in departments and agencies with large data sets stored in different applications and systems. Daily operations involve many manual and complex processes which hinder efficiency. Also, critical data sets is not easily accessible across governments or agencies. It takes tremendous effort and buy-in for states to consolidate data from local governments due to different infrastructure, data management practices, and data sets, along with limited resources. With expanding impact of technology and changing demands from modern citizens, government program areas are not able to meet demand because IT or data is just not agile enough. During the pandemic, IT was forced to push the data governance projects aside and focus on transitioning their workforce remotely. But now, IT departments need to fix those data governance projects rushed out during the pandemic, while again restricted by limited and burnout resources. Also, driven by the pandemic and elections, there is a pressure for government transparency and accountability, which leads to the growing need for more open data. Clearly, there is a huge gap between the services state and provincial governments offer today and that provided by private companies. To provide the same seamless customer experience, a state government would need a robust digital platform offering something similar to one-stop shopping, making all services available in just a few clicks. However, most states and provinces just cannot do that yet, with legacy systems, so the databases, limited information sharing, and a lack of funding and qualified staff. Data is a mission-critical yet underutilized asset in government. To enable and accelerate digitization, governments need to employ an enterprise data strategy to maximize the value of their data. Now today, we're going to address these challenges. We're going to share 6 reasons why your government organization should employ an enterprise data integration solution to help deliver better services and achieve your missions. All right, the first reason why your government organization should have a data integration solution in place is that it helps you in streamline government operations. Improving operation efficiency is one of the key business goals for government. Some of the challenges include organizational structures, traditional manual processes, data silos, and limited resources. From maintaining databases to reporting and to responding to service requests, government operations include many regular and repetitive tasks, which can be eliminated by just connecting data across different systems and departments. There is a lot more that data integration can help you achieve. With Fme's automations, you can implement standardized, efficient, and fully automated processes to tackle daily tasks and create service response agility. To maintain data integrity, you can also build rule-based workflows to run automated quality checks while reducing the amount of human errors. And another great benefit FME brings is enabling your staff training and a knowledge transfer with no coding needed, which is extremely valuable to IT or GIS departments, sometimes with limited resources or staffing challenges. Just want to highlight a few use cases here, some of the different approaches for streamlining operations in government. For example, we're seeing from Alberta Environment and Park, and they built a web-based submission interface to help deliver high-quality spatial data through the application process. And also, we're seeing from Alberta Health Services, they built a workflow to orchestrate their data quality process. Also from Washington State's Department of Revenue, they created a process to automate their reporting process. And if you're interested in learning more about how they did it, make sure to click through the links on this slide to learn more. All right, the second reason why your government organization should have a data integration solution in place is that it helps you make authoritative data accessible. State and provincial governments have been collaborating with local agencies or organizations to improve sharing of important data, to support initiatives and improve services across the state of province, from consolidating critical data sets into a central repository to updating data across different systems. For example, we're seeing from some state governments, they integrate address data from counties into a state database to improve address location accuracy and emergency response. This also helps eliminate overlapping goals and initiatives in local GIS groups. However, as mentioned a little bit earlier, it takes tremendous effort and buy-in to consolidate data from the local level. So the key here is to implement a data integration solution that works seamlessly with existing infrastructure and processes, and make sure that the project is delivered on time and on budget. And FME can help you achieve that. With FME, you can connect data from different systems, no matter it's legacy or new, internal or external, and streamline all the data integration, validation, update, and sharing processes. That means local counties or cities don't need to make changes to their own data. FME can just do all the work. By making authoritative information readily available and easily accessible, state and provincial governments can better support initiatives around natural disasters, air or water quality, economic development, and so much more. Here's a few different ways to make authoritative data accessible with data integration. For example, Arizona built a statewide address ecosystem to prepare for upcoming transition to next generation 911. And they also built a self-serve data download application to make it more accessible and usable to the public. Also, Washington built a statewide database for land-based data. Here, and also we're seeing from Ontario Natural Heritage Information Center, they developed a centralized authoritative source for provincially tracked species information across Ontario. Here, so we're going to just talk a little bit more this success story from state of Indiana. State of Indiana is a very big state, serving 6.5 million people across 92 counties. They use FME to streamline the integration of GIS data from 92 counties into a central repository, which is then made available through an online GIS data portal. FME was used to integrate and share data from various GIS systems. Each delivered their data via OGC Web Feature Services, where FME server took over, transforming, homogenizing it into a central repository from which it was made available through the Indiana Map online GIS portal. FME helped the team save time and reduce cost while ensuring that individual counties did not have to implement new process or spend any of their own budgets. This also enables greater intergovernmental collaboration and accessibility to data, which can be used to support initiatives emergency response activities across the state. Now we're going to do our first demo. Chris is going to show us how to consolidate data sets from different counties.
All right, so here we are with the first demo. And for all the 3 demos you're going to see today, we're going to be working with wildfire data from the state of Tennessee. All of this data was made available through the USGS and from the US Census. So thank you to those organizations for making this available. So for the first demo, what we're going to be looking at is consolidating data from the county level. We have all these different counties and they have their own schemas. Their attribute values are slightly different. They're using state plane coordinate systems, and we want to standardize all of this into a single state database. So the goal here is going to be to integrate all that data into a single database, and that's just to enforce that the state standards are met. The obstacles here are going to be that, as we mentioned, the data is going to be coming in from a variety of sources, different schemas, formats, and even the coordinate systems. So we want to build all this logic into our workspace, handle it, and make sure that all the data that we receive is now in our standard, so we can process it how we need to. The solution here is going to be really to connect to all the different county level sources, grab it from that source, then transform it in the workspace to meet your organization's requirements. And the result here is going to be that we're going to have a consolidated county state data set that's updated on a regular basis. So I'll give you a little bit of a sneak peek of what the workspace is going to look like. And for those who aren't familiar, we're going to be hopping into Fme Workbench, which is the authoring environment where you build your workflows, which can then be published to Fme Server. So we'll hop into Fme Workbench, and you can see that we have a few different regions. So I kind of grouped all the counties based on their geographic location in the state of Tennessee. So we have the central region, southern, eastern, and so on and so forth. And you can see all of these are connected to the first transformer, which is called the Schema Mapper. And what this is going to be doing is, let me actually just pull open the Schema Map, and I'll zoom in a little bit so it makes it easier to see. All these different regions are, as we mentioned, using different schemas at the county level. So that's the source. You can see as I flip through from the central to the northeast, that the schema is slightly different. Some of them are all uppercase, some of them have different namings, so fire code instead of code, for example. And if I switch to east, even this one will be slightly different, and there's additional attributes. So all of these are slightly different, but all we know is the destination. That's our state standard. So we always want to map it to this standard. So by using the Schema Mapper, we're actually only having to set the schema definition in this Google Sheet. And then from there, everything is mapped from this Google Sheet in the workspace, and it transforms all of the schemas so it meets the state standard. Should any schema changes arrive at any point, say the East region changes their name attribute to all uppercase name, all you have to do is change it in this one Google Sheet, and the workspace is going to reflect that change. So it's a very flexible and very powerful transformer to use. We'll hop back into Workbench. So that handles the schema. That's usually the first challenge. The second challenge that we commonly see is that different organizations, counties and cities, they use different attribute values than what the state requires. That could be something as simple as the date format. So as you can see, the northeastern region here is using a different output format or a different date format than what the state requires. And the same goes for attribute values as well. So if I look in this attribute manager, we can see that, sorry, not the agency, we want the active. Some organizations might type out attribute values as all uppercase yes, they'll use the whole word, but the state government in this example wants to use just an uppercase Y or an N to indicate whether the value is a yes or a no. We'll scroll over it a little bit to the end. The last bit is to reproject the data into a single coordinate system. We want all the data that's now been standardized to work in the same coordinate system so we can make it available for the public to use. So I'll just show that we're reading in from a couple of different sources here. So this workspace is pulling in data from an FTP site. We're going out to ArcGIS Online to get the southeastern region. And as we pass the data through and we run the workspace, let's give it a run. You're going to see that it's going to reach out in the translation log to all these different systems. We're going to pull in all the different wildfire values or features from the various systems, map the schemas, transform the attributes, and reproject it into our destination format. In this case, it's going to be SQL Server Spatial, and we'll just open up that table in just a second here. So it looks like we're just about done with all the schema mapping. We have 2 more regions to go. And there we go. Translation successful. So we'll hop over to our SQL Server instance, and you can see that now we have a list of every county is in the database with its own specific table. That's just a quick and easy way to perform all those schema mappings and make sure that we now have all these data sets standardized into their own tables in one standard database. So it's great that we have all this available in Workbench now, but what we can do is publish this up to Fme server and put it into something called an automation. So with the wildfire example, one common thing we've seen is that counties usually have to put their data sets or make it available by a certain time. So we'll say it's 5 p.m. So at 5 p.m. every day, the data has to be available so the state can pull the data sets. So what we can do in this automation is run the schedule. Say every day at 5:30, let's go out and reach all these sources. So we'll reach out to that FTP site, we'll reach out to ArcGIS Online, say another organization's using a file geodatabase and they're emailing it to you. All of these can be strung together in the schedule, and you can pass them into the next workspace, which would be to update your SQL Server database. You don't have to get hung up on it being SQL Server necessarily. It could be any destination format, but just to mention that that's how you would string together the workspace in an automation and run it on a schedule. So the solution here is that we're really just using the schedule to enhance this system. We're really allowing it to run autonomously in the background. We don't have to trigger this workspace to run manually. It's just going to run every day at 5:30. That way, all of our data is going to be kept up to date in our state database. And our result here was, again, all the tables being created in our SQL Server database. We'll pass it back over to Vivian.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. Okay, moving on. Here's the third reason why your government organization should have a data integration solution in place, is that it helps you support open government initiatives. Most Western governments are mandated to provide open data to increase government transparency, support public data needs, and increase citizen engagement. The key is to make sure that the data is easily accessible and usable to the public. It's common among governments to build self-serve open data portals to provide a convenient central location for the public to access government data and information. To achieve that, a wide range of data sets from different systems needs to be integrated, transformed, and validated before they're ready for public consumption. Simple and standardized processes need to be developed in place to efficiently tackle huge amounts of daily data requests. Fme can be leveraged to overcome all these challenges. You can create automated workflows using the pre-built tools to integrate and serve data, saving immense time and cost saving for your staff. For better user experience, you can offer data downloads in users' desired formats, including LES, JSON, KML, and DWG, or even PDF, and allow users to select the precise subset of data they want using a map preview. This way, end data users, such as researchers or businesses, can download and use the data to carry out research, build web applications, or deliver other data services. Here we have a few tips for creating open data portals. The first one, update the data sets frequently. This one is very important, and you can easily do this with Fme. You can create a workspace to synchronize your portal with your database, set up scheduling to run the synchronization process automatically, and feed the data to the portal. And also, it's also recommended you offer coordinate system choices to better support your end users. Also, it's important to ensure data quality. You can use Fme to automate the whole data validation process. It's also good to offer format choices to make open data easy for the public to use. Some of the useful formats include GeoJSON, JSON, XML, Esri shapefile, KML, and then PDF. And also, it's important to choose the right delivery solution. And there's many solutions out there. We actually have a webinar talking about the 9 open data portal solutions and how they compare. If you're interested in learning more, make sure to click through the link on this slide. Okay, here's demo 2. Chris is going to show us on how to publish data, publish data to open data portals.
Thanks, Vivian. So for demo 2, yes, we're going to be publishing to open data portals. In this case, Vivian mentioned that there are 9 available, but we're just going to be focusing on ArcGIS Hub and CCAN using the new CCAN connector. So the goal here is really going to be to make the data publicly available on those 2 systems. We're going to be showing both examples in the same workflow, just because they're very similar to work with. They're pretty simple to push your data to. The obstacle that you might run into here, and this is kind of one that we have seen pop up a few times, is that not every attribute should be made publicly available. Oftentimes, organizations have their own internal data portal, which, yes, that should have all the data and nothing should be stripped out. But then there's also the public side, where you want to remove some sensitive data or some values that you don't really need the public to have access to. So the solution here would be to build that into another workbench and into another workspace where you're removing all those unwanted attributes. You're writing to multiple formats to make it available on the open data portal, and then of course to publish it to the data portal itself. The result here is that the data is going to have access to all the open data as soon as it becomes available to the state. So again, we have a little sneak peek here. We'll just hop into the workbench. So for this demo, all we're going to be doing is pulling in our data that we've prepared from our first demo, which is now in our SQL Server database. We're going to be removing the attributes. I'm going to start running this right now. We're going to be removing some attributes, which are just the internal IDs, which we don't need the public to have access to, along with a couple of other attributes as well, just using the attribute manager. And then we're going to be writing it out to 3 of the popular formats that Vivian mentioned: a shapefile, a KML file, GeoJSON, and then this bottom example is just going to ArcGIS Online for our ArcGIS Hub instance. We'll just scroll over to the right-hand side here because you'll see that with the CCAN connector, that works a little bit differently than those who work with ArcGIS Online. So with CCAN, you're actually going to need to write the data set out first, which we would use in a feature writer, just shown here. And then you connect it to the CCAN connector, where you then point it to the data sets that you want to upload. And that's just using one of the attributes that's created by the feature writer called _dataset. You're going to notice that if you're familiar with FME, that I have a writer on the end here. You might be wondering why I've done that. And that's just using the automation, the Fme server automations writer. So why do I have it connected to the rejected port? Well, if something ever fails to upload to CCAN, I want to be notified right away. So I'm going to use that in the automation to connect it to an external action called an emailer. So it'll let me know if anything is rejected by the connector. So this is going to be part 1 of the demo. We're going to flip back into here, where we're just going to look at our internal ArcGIS Online or ArcGIS Hub instance, where I'll scroll down. This is something I whipped up pretty quickly, so it's nothing very official or good looking by any means, but you can see that we have our data set available, and this one was last updated 16 hours ago. It just takes a second to upload, but we'll see with the CCAN example right here. This is the same resource that we've written to, and if I refresh the page, we can see that all of our resources are now available. So that would be initially creating our data sets, making those all available in the same workspace. That is entirely possible, but what's probably a more common use case would be updating the data sets that are already on those systems. So that would be a very similar process here, where with ArcGIS Hub, we'll just focus on this bottom one for now. It's a little bit more of a simple process because all you have to do is write your data set out to ArcGIS Online. So all you would be doing would be reading in from your SQL Server or whatever format you're working with, removing those IDs, the same process that you did in the first workspace, and then writing it out to ArcGIS Online. In the CCAN instance, we actually need to reach out to CCAN first, grab the list of resources just to get the IDs that we need to update, and then we can connect it to this using that same method where we're pointing to the file path where we want to update it from and using the resource ID we got from that first CCAN connector. You can see that I've done the similar thing here with Fme Server Automations Writer because I want to be notified at any time this rejects any features. We want to be notified at any point in time that it fails. So we'll just see here in the automation now that I've actually strung this together to the first part of the demo. We're just going to keep building it this way. So since we know that all of our data is due at 5 p.m., At that point, we can update our SQL Server database, but then right after that, why don't we push all that data to our open data portal, make it available to the public on our CCAN or ArcGIS Hub instance right away. As you can see just in the bottom part here, this is that Fme Server Automations Writer where we connected it to an emailer. And this is just going to be used to ensure that if anything goes wrong in that workspace and goes through that rejected port, I'm going to get I'm going to be notified by email. So I can go and look into this, see what went wrong, and if need be, I can manually run this automation or run the workspace. So those are two very basic examples of our abilities to publish and prepare and publish data to open data portals, but you also see there's a couple of real world examples that we'd like to showcase here as well. So one would be the City of Surrey's open data portal, where this is using a CCAN instance. And this looks a lot better than the one that I've put together, but you can see that it can be totally customizable to your organization's look and feel. The same goes for ArcGIS Hub instance, where we'll look at AZ Geo's example. And here they're using ArcGIS Hub and it looks fantastic. They've written all their data up that way. And I believe they're using Fme to prepare their data in the background as well. So all the wheels can be turned in an automation like this, or you can set up a number of different processes in automations or just running on a schedule to keep your data updated. So the solution here was to add another workspace action to our automation. So now we have our scheduled data refresh, and that's just connected to that same workspace in that automation. And our result is we have regularly updated open data. This here was our ArcGIS Online or ArcGIS Hub instance, where we're updating it along there for our wildfires and our county data. And the same goes for our CCAN instance. And we'll pass it back to Vivian.
Wonderful, thank you, Chris. Moving on, we're going to talk about the fourth reason why your government organization should have a data integration solution, is that it helps you cultivate data cultures. With emerging technologies and more data to work with than ever before, government agency leaders are starting to embrace what's known as data culture, looking for ways to maximize the value of their data and make data-driven decisions. There's also an increased focus on data governance and implementing governance rules. The emphasis is on collecting, organizing, and democratizing data and ensure data quality. Here's why implementing a data integration solution is critical to establishing a successful data culture. And with a tool like Fme, it can help you enhance information flow by connecting and sharing data from different systems and agencies, produce comprehensive and trusted data sets with orchestrated data quality control workflows. And it can also empower data-driven decision-making by developing dashboards, self-serve web apps, or automated reporting process of authoritative data and actionable insights. Last but not least, it can also help you adapt to changing data governance requirements with ease. So just to quickly go through some of the use cases, common use cases here. For example, Arizona Department of Transportation, they built a highway performance monitoring dashboard, and also they used Fme to support data culture within the DOT. And also, again, we're seeing from Washington State Department of Revenue, they created an automated process to improve their reporting, daily reporting. Now we're going to talk a bit more about Arizona DOT, the story there and how they make road network data more usable for the agency, as well as external and internal customers. So as part of the culture change, the state of Arizona has been leading to improve business processes. The Department of Transportation has started investing in breaking long existing data silos with a focus on connecting and sharing. One of the projects they're working on is to make road network data more usable for the agency, as well as external customers. They use Fme to integrate spatial and non-spatial data from different sources, including roads and highway data, business data, and published reports. They're also able to integrate all these data with their linear referencing system, which is a common challenge among state DOTs. All processed data is eventually fed into DOT's dashboard to enable data visualization and discovery. With Fme automations, they're able to automate all the data workflows from integration to quality control and to feeding to dashboards. The new improved process has helped Arizona DOT build confidence in their data, improve decision-making and planning, and weave best practices into a strong data governance fabric. All right, we're going to talk about the fifth reason why your government organization should have a data integration solution in place is that it helps to enhance public service delivery. Delivering better public service is a top priority for state and provincial government. It's more important than ever to have access to timely, comprehensive, and trusted data to increase situation awareness, improve emergency response, and ensure public safety. Agencies and organizations such as state transportation departments have been leveraging modern technology such as IoT sensors, automatic vehicle locators, and APIs to deliver real-time situational awareness and better serve citizens. Public health organizations are also leveraging real-time data to manage through a crisis like the COVID-19 pandemic. But before having data ready for leadership to make an informed and a timely decision or sharing with the public, all the source data needs to be integrated and processed, which is why you need a data integration solution. With Fme, you can connect and process data sets from different systems and devices to improve the quality and completeness of your data feeds. And you can also set up automated workflows to keep your data portals or dashboards up to date whenever new data comes in. Just to share a few different ways you can enhance public service delivery with data integration. For example, Iowa DOT, they use Fme for quite a few projects. And they integrated data from automatic vehicle locators, sensors, floor cams to deliver real-time information on road conditions to the public through a public-facing portal. And they also use Fme to process data to improve weather data services and prepare data for building APIs to better serve public data needs. And also here's another example from a county, but it's how they were from Santa Clara. They again use Fme to prepare data to for the next generation 911. So click through the links if you would like to learn more about their stories. All right, here's our last demo on feeding data to dashboards.
All right, here we go with feeding data to dashboards. And obviously the goal here is going to be to update the state wildfire dashboard to make sure that all the data is the latest data that's available. You're going to see that we're going to just chain another workspace onto that same automation because since we're updating our state geodatabase or state database as well as our open data portal, we might as well update the dashboard at the same time. So the solution here is going to be for the Fme server automation to carry the load of the schedule and perform all the updates from those workspaces. The result we're going to have here is an accurate snapshot of all the current state wildfire situations for the last 24 hours. Just a little sneak peek at the workspace again, so we'll take a look in here. If you're working with ArcGIS Hub and operational dashboards, all this is going to be kind of built into the product already, so you won't really need to do this step. This is more for people who are using things like Power BI, but if you were updating your ArcGIS Hub or ArcGIS Online features, you could do that in a workspace as well. So all we're going to be doing in this workspace is preparing the data for our dashboard. In this case, we're going to be writing it out to Power BI and writing it out to ArcGIS Online as well. So there's nothing too fancy going on here. We're just going to be preparing some values and extracting the center points. And what we're going to see is we'll get a result that's something like this, where this is already pulling our data from ArcGIS Hub. So this is just an operational dashboard where we can click around and see what's going on here and zoom around the map. The Power BI example we have is similar to this one. So we tried to mimic the ArcGIS operational dashboard, and made a similar looking dashboard on Power BI. You can click around, change all the values, and you can see that it is updated with the latest available data. So again, the solution here was to add another workspace onto that automation. We're going to schedule the dashboard updates just by chaining it on to our database and open data portal updates. The results we had here was that all of our data now matches the same data that's available on our open portal, as well as what we have in our state database. So this would be a great tool to use both internally and externally if you need it to be available to the public.
So here's our 6th reason on why your government organization should have a data integration solution in place. Empower data modernization. Driven by the needs to better serve modern citizens, governments have come to understand some of the limitations of on-premise solutions and been actively implementing cloud strategies. That involves migrating huge amounts of data, legacy data sets, as well as updating existing infrastructure and systems. To facilitate a smooth transition to the cloud, it's worth having a data integration solution to handle the heavy lifting. What's great about Fme is that it helps you migrate data from legacy systems to the cloud solution of your choice with total automation. Your IT team just needs to quickly set up some workspaces and sit back while data is getting moved, transformed, and validated without any human effort. This not only helps save time and resources on completing the cloud migration project itself, but also leads to greater benefits for the organization in the long run, including managing increasing workloads and user requests, improving server performance, and reducing operational costs. You can continue leveraging Fme to expand your enterprise integration to the cloud. Here we have some examples from some customers, some of the common use cases. For example, Kansas DOT Aviation Division, they modernized their, so they upgraded their system. So they modernized their airspace awareness system. And with Arkansas GIS office, they migrated open data to the cloud. So now we're going to talk a bit more about Arkansas GIS office and how they migrated our open data portal to the cloud. They used Fme to migrate their over 7 terabytes of data to Amazon, which also hosts the web server front end and Fme cloud physically in the same region for optimal performance. User requests in the new system are performed in the background by Fme cloud, where a collection of workspaces automatically tackle the data extraction and the delivery workflows requested by end users. By eliminating in-house infrastructure, they gained robustness and saved money. Fault-tolerant data storage at Amazon and Fme Cloud monitoring provides excellent security. Finally, the cost savings are unimaginable. Their 3-year financial projection for in-house versus cloud indicated a 220,000 cost reduction, a staggering 73% savings. Now here's just a roundup of all the use cases we just covered. So if you can, with Fme, you can streamline government operations with automated workflows for data prep or processing or QA. You can support open government initiatives, make authoritative data accessible with statewide databases, open data, or self-serve data services. You can cultivate data cultures with application integration, automated reporting, or dashboarding. You can improve situation awareness and enhance public service delivery with real-time data, APIs, and integrated data for next generation 911. Lastly, you can also modernize your government data by updating legacy systems and migrating to cloud platforms. The list goes on, and Fme can provide the data integration solutions your organization needs to support your initiatives and help you achieve your missions. So the key takeaway here is that state and provincial governments need to employ an agile, cross-agency approach to navigate today's rapidly changing landscape. By implementing an enterprise integration solution, government organizations can improve operational efficiency, increase situational awareness, and better serve citizens with connected, trusted, and valuable data. All right, so after talking about some of the business cases, here we're going to introduce some of the licensing options and the support we offer to our customers. For those, some of you who might be still new to FME, I'm just going to really quickly go through some of the products we have. So the FME platform consists of FME desktop, which is the authoring environment where you build your data integration workflows, and also FME server, which automates your workflows. It can be deployed on premises or in the cloud. So one option is to deploy FME server in FME cloud, a fully hosted cloud environment, and we can talk a bit more about that in the next slide. On the mobile side, we have two apps that deliver power of FME to mobile. FME Data Express allows you to run FME server jobs from mobile devices. And we have FME AR that allows you to transform your data into interactive objects, which can be viewed in AR. And as you can see, all of the product environments use a visual interface with no coding required. We want to offer flexible deployment options to our customers. And for those of you who prefer self-hosted option, you can just install FME directly onto your own hardware, cloud, or virtual machine. Or you can take advantage of FME Cloud, which offers an excellent opportunity for cost savings and flexibility. You can start on FME Cloud in just minutes, eliminating hours of configuration time on an in-house server environment. And we also want to point out that with FME now available on cloud marketplaces, you can also launch FME in just a few clicks from your own Google Cloud or Microsoft Azure Marketplace account with bring your own license model. In terms of licensing, more and more customers are choosing our annual enterprise subscription model, where you get a customized bundle of FME server and FME desktop, including updates and support for one annual price. And this is really great for organizations wanting to deploy the full FME platform across all departments and avoid the need to procure the upfront cost of perpetual licenses. And of course, if you can also choose to purchase perpetual licenses, which is good for smaller organizations or single department deployment. Here, just a sample of the systems we can support, from GIS, open data, to databases, data warehouses, and to business intelligence and cloud platforms. This is not an exhaustive list. FME can help you connect data between over 450 sources or systems. So if you're curious about what are the systems we can support, or if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us, and we're happy to assist you. And also we really want to make sure we are taking care of our customers by offering valuable free resources. So FME community is definitely something we'd recommend you to check out. With over 10,000 global users, there's a lot of there's a lot of people there answering questions at the same time, helping other people by answering their questions. And also we have a lot of experts, from SAE, very active on the community. So most likely your question will be answered by one of our experts. And also, we would encourage you to submit your ideas for, what are the features or capabilities you want to see from FME in the future, and we'd really value your feedback. In terms of knowledge and training, we have a ton of good materials on safe.com, including articles, tutorials, videos, live online training, and on-demand webinars, stuff like that. So be sure to go to our website to learn more. And FME Hub is where you can find and access custom transformers, templates, connectors, and a lot more useful resources you can leverage to help you build more complex and advanced workflows. Last but not least, we highly recommend you to, if you encounter technical issues, be sure to reach out to us for support. And if you prefer, we would recommend that you really take advantage of the live chat function on our website. You can launch it from our website in the right bottom corner, and our team of experts will be more than happy to assist you. All right, just to kind of summarize today's webinar, Data is mission critical asset in government and one of the foundation stones to digital acceleration. And in order to maximize the value of your government data, data needs to be connected, trusted, shared, and utilized. And having a no-code solution, no-code enterprise data integration solution like Fme would really help deliver long-term savings as well as better serve citizens and your workforce, improve your workforce experience. And if you haven't done already, we'd encourage you to, just go to Fme, go to safe.com, try/trial to grab a free trial of Fme and start experiencing our product. And if you have any questions or technical or anything regarding licensing or support, make sure to connect with us at government@safe.com. Okay, I guess we're wrapping up this webinar, and we're ready to take some questions from you guys. So make sure to chat in your questions now.
Looks good. We got a lot of great questions coming in from the audience, so we really appreciate all that engagement there. And I know Chris has been responding to a few. Chris, were there any that jumped out at you that you think would be good to bring up?
Yeah, there was one from Richard who was asking whether Fme would be beneficial to use Fme for a single task migration rather than using it for something like a repeatable workflow. And my answer for that one was really, I haven't used the migration tool that he has suggested, but Fme can be advantageous for the fact that if you have to make a change when you are doing those single tasks, if you have to make a change in the workflow, either transforming your data or if something didn't quite map over right, it's really easy to rerun that workspace just to make those outputs remap. So that's one main advantage that I could think of. The other thing would be dynamic workspaces. Again, I'm not too familiar with the migration tools that are available out there, but we do have things like dynamic workspaces, which can really help to match the schema from either the source to the destination or from the source to your desired destination. So there's a lot of great functionality with Fme in terms of schema mapping, if that's what you're looking for. Otherwise, yeah, there's a lot of great tools out there.
Love it. I love what Richard said too. He said there are many great benefits of using Fme, many of them relating to automation of repeating tasks, and that's how his organization is currently utilizing it. So that's always great to hear. Thanks for that feedback, Richard.
Yeah, thanks, Richard.
Cool. I saw a couple other questions come in. So one of them was, are automations available in Fme Desktop?
Good question. So Fme automations are only available in Fme Server. Desktop is just the authoring environment where you build the workflows. This is on a per machine basis. So you can either have a machine licensed to just your machine, or if you have floating licenses to pull from the seats, you can do it that way. But automations itself are based on the Fme Server platform, which is a separate entity where that's really the automation piece that allows you to either run on a schedule in response to an email being received, a file being uploaded to an FTP, or even things like an S3 bucket being notified. So.
Cool. Thanks, Chris. Okay, how long do some of those workflows that you showed there, Chris, how long did they take to prepare?
It's a really good question. It really depends on what your experience with Fme is and how comfortable you are working with your data. Obviously, if you know your data, it's going to make the task a lot easier because you're going to know how you need to prepare it and what you need to do to remove, say, attributes or IDs, and how you need to massage it to get it to your desired output. So for something like that, those workflows didn't take me too long to prepare. I'd say maybe in total that took about an hour and a half or so. Obviously, I work with Fme every day of my life, so it's something that I'm very comfortable with, but it was pulling all the different data sets together. That's where things can be a little tricky. So you always have to have your end goal in mind when you are building workflows. With getting more comfortable, you'll find that you'll learn some new tricks on how to speed up the process using things like presets and different things like that to help make things run faster. But of course, taking the training always helps you to help you get more exposure to new transformers as well.
And then before you know it, you'll be able to do what Chris did and present it live with that added pressure of like, we need this ASAP, plus you have to present it to a large group of people. And all right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, Vivian, maybe you want to take this one. Is there a list somewhere online of the provided transformers in FME?
Yeah, sure. I believe they're all available on Fme Hub, right? And also, yeah, I think also a Fme Hub has auto transformers connectors, everything you can find out. But also, if you're interested in what kind of systems we can support, you can also check out safe.com/integrate, I believe. So we can go to our integration library to check out. Okay, there's just so many systems we can support, so you can just find your answer there.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know if we actually mentioned the hub earlier, but as Vivian mentioned, that is one of the best places to find a list of different online connectors, because with the Fme Hub, those are all the packages, the transformers, the connectors that aren't natively available in Fme Desktop. Of course, they're all free. You can download them at will, and they're available directly in the product, but that's where you'll find things like, I think Socrata's up there, the emailer, and other services like that, where if their services are going to change or their API is going to change, it's something that we can quickly update just on the Fme Hub instead of having to release a whole new product. So you'll find a lot of great connectors and transformers up on the Fme Hub.
Perfect. So yeah, that's great. I chatted out a couple of those links there. And then, okay, maybe last question here. We had a question about CityWorks and if Fme can connect to CityWorks.
Perfect. That's a good lead in, because of course CityWorks is something that uses an API, and that's one that's available on the Fme Hub. So we do have a series of different, I'm actually going to check how many ones we different have. CityWorks. We have a series of, it looks like 21 different CityWorks transformers on the Fme Hub. There's one just a CityWorks connector, which would probably be the main one that people would be using. But all of these have been prepared, and they're again all available on the Fme Hub to allow you to connect to your systems.
Perfect. All right. Well, I think then with that, I think, yeah, we've probably answered all the questions, but what I can do is I can leave the webinar running for about another 5 minutes and we'll turn off our webcams. But if you have any last questions that you want to just chat into us, you can do that in this time. You can also save out any links that I chatted out. And I will mention that all those links that Vivian showed in the presentation, you will be getting an email with the recording and the slides, so you'll have access to everything shown here today. And as Vivian mentioned, if you want to connect with us further, you can reach out to us at government@safe.com or on live chat. We have a little live chat box on safe.com and you can find us there as well. So what do you guys think? Good job.
Yeah,
thanks. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining, everyone.
Yeah, thanks, everyone.
Perfect. Okay, I'll see you later. I'll leave it running for a little bit, but we'll turn off our webcams.
Okay. Bye.